The millennium generation, they are not afraid of asking questions.
Okay, this is boring as F. However,
it's not like just because you do a traineeship that you actually are forced to stay in operations.
The voices of current and former trainees. From DFDS, I'm Julie Broberg, and this is The Ripple Effect.
Okay, are you ready?
Did I say trainee grade? You got that. Sorry. All right, we are rolling, right?
It's on tape now.
Exploring the people and maritime stories that make a difference.
And I'm Jason Luke, the co-host of this branded podcast from DFDS. In this 4-part miniseries, we will focus on the DFDS Trainee program.
This is episode 4 in a series, From Trainee to Route Director. If you haven't heard the first 3, it might make sense to go back and listen to them now.
Okay, Julie, what's this episode all about?
Well, this time we talked to 3 of our former trainees who now work for DFDS and have made their careers with us.
So you're saying that they stayed in the organization?
They stayed around and they work for DFDS now.
Okay.
And one of them was a trainee 18 years ago and actually is a route director now.
Wow, okay, so he advanced.
Definitely. So there are definite possibilities in the traineeship to make your career with us.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we got together with a couple of them in the studio.
We did, yeah.
And had a nice conversation and went over some of the topics of hanging around in the organization afterwards.
Definitely. And Armin, he was actually part of the first or second class of these international trainees, which our program is now. Mm-hmm. We've had trainees through many, many years in DFDS, but they've been different kinds of programs. And he's a product of one of the first classes from the Danish Shipping Academy program.
I guess that trainees have always been there since that's the way that you learn the business of shipping. But today it's different with the academy and all. So Armin was from there?
Yeah, he was one of those early trainees in this program that we're running now. I understand there's another guy in DFDS, even though we didn't talk to him, who was a trainee 50 years ago, and he's still with us.
Oh, awesome.
We should definitely have had him in the studio.
Yeah, she blows.
We could have. I think we would have had a whole other set of stories, I believe.
Yeah. With us as well in the studio is Mustafa, and apart from his foreign-sounding name, he is Danish with Turkish Kurdish roots, but born and raised in Denmark.
He'd been a trainee in the program before we began the international program.
We also spoke to Jacob Anderson, and you had a word with Eddie Green.
Yes.
Who is Eddie Green?
Our head of logistics in DFDS.
Mm-hmm.
He told us why he thinks it's important we have trainees in DFDS.
Mm-hmm. And he's the one that you started out saying used to be a trainee himself. No, that was
so. That was
Jacob. Yeah,
that was Jacob. Yeah.
Okay,
or Jacob. Yeah.
Jacob.
We gotta decide if we're calling him Jacob or Jacob.
Jacob and Jacob. It's like tomato.
Jacob and Jacob are the same person.
Like Medina Madonna. Hey, Jake.
Hey, Jakes.
Well, being with an international company, I suppose by now he's used to hearing his name pronounced in different ways. Let's get down to our business. First up is Armin.
My name is Armin Rokas. I'm now 29 years old. I'm originally from Lithuania. I started in DFDS, now I think 3.5 years ago. My first year was in Bruges in Belgium. The second was in Klaipėda in Lithuania. And now I'm working in Copenhagen at HQ as a business analyst.
My name is Mustafa. I'm 30 years old. Born and raised in Denmark, have a Kurdish background. Started in DFDS back in 2010, so 7 years, or 8 almost this year. As a trainee, I worked 1 year in Copenhagen in the shipping division, and then I had 1 year in Dublin in the logistic division.
Hi, my name is Jacob Anderson. I'm a route director located in Kiel, Germany, and I'm responsible for the business from Kiel to Lithuania and Kiel to Russia. Actually, I'm a result being trainee myself in DFDS back 18 years ago.
So, Jakob, is that why you think it's important for DFDS to have trainees?
I think it's actually a unique possibility to develop own talent inside DFDS for, let's say, future management positions. And then for the organization, it's also a splendid opportunity to get some, let's say, input from outside, which are enriching our organization. Having young, talented people being able to challenge us as business leader. It's good.
Yes, and for quite a few people, that's actually, I think, the reason why they stayed and why some of them are now, what can I say, route managers, but operations managers for the whole terminal or project managers for the whole office. So there's a very wide range of possibilities.
So those possibilities include a wide variety of locations as well, right, Mustafa?
I was so lucky that I got the opportunity to work from Hamburg 1 year as well, where I basically just took my job with me. So that is also one of the advantages, I guess you can say, you have in a company like DFDS, that there are applications around all our branches and there are always opportunities to go abroad if that is what you want.
So are there possibilities beyond shipping and logistics?
Yeah, it's not like just because you do a traineeship that you actually are forced to stay in the logistics or shipping division. I mean, I have seen people coming in as a trainee now being in procurement. I actually know one who's also in finance, IT, with the velocity and all of these projects. I mean, your career can go different way depending on what you want and what you actually are good at. So it's not that you need to, you're not forced to stay in operations.
Well, that sounds good. Armin, do you agree?
I think you can actually bypass quite a few steps, at least if you're underqualified when applying to some positions. As an example, maybe you were just a trainee, now you're an operations manager, maybe a projects manager.
Exactly.
Whereas before you didn't even have any experience in project management. But you applied for it. Maybe the managers liked you, saw that you actually did maybe a few projects within the company, small or large, whatnot, or was very keen to actually participate. You have an edge when it comes to this network and all the employment opportunities within it.
Yeah, DFDS is good at, and also good at letting people shift direction, I think, and try something new.
Yeah. But there is also a cultural aspect. I mean, again, you might do the right thing, but if you come in as a trainee, then some might consider you as the lowest in the chain of command, the hierarchy, or whatever you call it. And you might do the right thing, but you might also cross some people defeat. I mean, that's some of the things I have experienced, going through as a trainee and trying to do the right thing, where people just get, don't do my job, or don't try to correct what I'm doing, or don't interfere, as some might say.
Yeah, but this especially the millennium generation, they are not afraid of asking questions.
But that's not a bad thing, right, Jakob?
There are no stupid questions. Why are you doing this? Why are you not checking in the truck drivers in this way? Why is this so old-fashioned? Is there other possibilities? We live in the 2018, so it's quite good because over time you work yourself into this situation and business model, and then all of a sudden there's some new input coming from outside. It's nice to have this diversity, that somebody is coming from outside, starting to question our daily routines.
And now for some of our own disruption. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
What do you think? It's smart, classy, but not overly formal.
But you can be naked from the waist down, for all they know.
There you go again. Body mad?
No. What I'm saying is that the first interview is on Skype, so you can wear pajama bottoms if you like.
Yeah, but I want to feel comfortable.
But you haven't even heard if you're getting an interview yet.
Life rule number 132, never miss a good sale opportunity.
Life rule number 1, never miss a career opportunity.
What do you think of a dark blue? Is it too conservative?
Nautical, but nice.
Like the DFDS traineeship.
How about you? Move your boundaries, move your life, move your career. Go to dfds.com/trainee, but do so by March 30th.
And we're back again. So still with us is Jacob, and I have a question. Jacob, you're very supportive of hosting trainees at your location, but a lot goes into making it a great experience for them, doesn't it?
It's of course important to, let's say, to find the locations who are interested in having these young people. And it's also important to find the managers who will also support this program. That means mentoring it and follow this process of the trainee.
How do you identify the mentors in your organization?
I started as a mentor myself some years ago, and then 2-3 years ago, I've delegated this job to also a young, talented guy named Philip Maivorn. He's also participating in Horizon in DFDS.
Oh, okay.
And you can say he's very much into development of people and is also trying locally to develop the remaining staff, which is not trainees. But he definitely take this challenge serious because it takes something to have these trainees. Definitely, it costs some work, but it's a good investment for DFDS and for our location as such.
So how does the trainee get the most out of it?
It really is important that the individual would have a vision of what he wants to do, or maybe have a drive, or maybe understand that, okay, this is boring as F. However, maybe this is just the first step. After a couple of months or maybe a year, there's going to be something else. Maybe in that position which you don't like, you can actually improvise. Maybe you can make something better. A lot of, for instance, the systems and processes, they're old. Now we're implementing changes to that and trying to modernize them. There's a lot of, I think, room to actually get some improvements out. And I think for people who really like to tinker and see how to make things better, that's great. For people who are maybe a bit critical to some things, that's also a good place to be. I really hate the saying, we've been doing it for 10 years, we're gonna do it for 5 or 10 more. I think that's silly. You don't change just because you got used to it. Someone else can just come and disrupt the whole thing, which I think is great.
Jakob, do you have any examples of ways that trainees disrupted the old way of thinking in Kiel?
Some years ago, we had we call it a Russian-Polish crisis. That means that the Russian trucks was not allowed to cross Poland, and that means that they needed to use our ferry. And suddenly, overnight, there was 300 trucks piling up in the port of Kiel, and it was congesting everything. So this trainee that we had at this time was asked to come up with a concept, develop a concept. Where can we park, let's say, trucks in Kiel? Where can we park trucks outside Kiel and then still register them so they will still be in the line on the waiting list for the next departure? So all such kind of projects. We have also, let's say, how can we optimize our archiving of documents? Germany, to a certain extent, is a little bit old-fashioned. We like to keep a lot of papers for a very long time. So what is actually required? To find out what is required, can we minimize our space for archiving? Can we do it in the cloud instead of doing it on paper every time? So that could also be a project. And actually, we managed to reduce our rental space in the office and saved money on this project.
Oh, wow. Okay, so, and a trainee helped you figure that out.
Running this process. So there's all kind of small projects which they're running.
That way of looking to improve things ends up getting ingrained even after the traineeship, doesn't it, Armin? My
mind is always looking into ways how to improve things, and my background in IT, I always see how to make things better. And now with machine learning, I remember talking to a few of my colleagues in Belgium with planning. I was saying, okay, sorry guys, but you're probably the last of your kind.
Mm-hmm. Dying breed.
Yeah, dying breed of planners. Yeah. It's going to be so much more optimized, less waste, I guess less interaction.
Jakob, even though having the trainees presents some challenges, you still think it's important, don't you?
I also have to admit that it is a challenge to have the trainees at the location, and there's a lot of organization going on before, and to find apartments and a lot of work, and definitely also to keep track on the development of the trainees. Fortunately, I have some good colleagues who are willing to invest this time because they see the benefit in it. We dedicate more time for this because we believe it's important.
And worthwhile as well.
And now let's turn to your questions. We weren't able to get Dorda back in the studio, but she did provide us with the answers to these questions, which came up via email since our last episode. Let's get started.
Okay, I'll be asking the questions.
Perfect.
First one coming up. Do you accept applicants with a master's degree?
We have geared our program towards recent graduates with a bachelor's degree in business, maritime studies, maritime law, shipping, or logistics. As such, it's an entry-level introduction to those topics, and we fear that candidates with a master's degree might not find it challenging enough. So candidates with a bachelor's degree are given first priority.
Well, that makes sense. Okay. Here's another one. Do you prefer candidates from certain geographical areas?
Because we provide 2 tickets home per year within Europe, we give priority to European-based candidates. Non-European nationals who've studied in Europe and already reside there are most welcome to apply. And that's almost it for this episode. We'll round things off with Executive Vice President Eddie Green on the importance of trainees to our business.
I think it's extremely important that we have a constant flow of new trainees coming into the business. Young people are lifeblood, they're our future. We need to grow our business, we want to grow our business, so it's extremely important that we have these young people bringing in new attitudes, new experiences, and of course they want to learn. And I think when they learn, they challenge the older guys and girls around the building, and at the same time introduce new concepts and ideas, and that's a good mix. They're more flexible, more willing to learn new things, more willing to experience new things. I think that in itself is extremely important. We need our young people to engage with people of similar ages and experience in other companies to create networks and really to give a vibrancy to the company which will help us well into the future.
And with that, we were going to close out this 4-part miniseries on DFDS trainees. But we had such a great conversation with Armin and Mustafa that we're going to do a bonus episode.
And you don't even have to wait very long. It's out on Monday.
So, to be sure you don't miss out, subscribe to The Ripple Effect on Apple Podcasts or Stitcher or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. And please do leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. It helps other people find us. The Ripple Effect is produced by me, Julie Broberg, with story help from Richard Lightbody. Recorded and edited by Jason Luke at Mastertone Studio in beautiful downtown Copenhagen. Ad voices by Agna and Antonio Garcia.
Music was by Morten Torhaug from Car Park North, and original music by me, Jason Luke.
A very big thank you to Armin Rokas, Mustafa Bademsi, and Jakob Andersen for sharing your stories with us.
And thank you as well to Eddie Green.
A special thanks to Christina Johannesson. Rikke Gransu's spirit animal is an owl. Or is it a hippopotamus? Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening in.